With update 5.01 released, we finally see the long-awaited buff to hopefully make Phoenix a viable duelist. We also get a couple minor buffs to Yoru and KO, and a beta version of a Smurf detection system. Let's start with our boy Phoenix. The kit of Phoenix got 3 buffs. For starters, his curveball, aka his flash, got its max duration increased from 1.1 second to 1.5 seconds, making it match the duration of Yoru's flash. The difference between Yoru and Phoenix though, is that Yoru has an additional flash, his fake out, which flashes for a whopping 3.1 seconds. And to put the buff even more into perspective, the difference between Phoenix and the average flasher is that the average flash duration is 2 seconds. So even with the buff Phoenix's flashes got, it's still falling short compared to the others. But that isn't the only buff his flash got, because Riot also decreased the flash windup time from 0.7 seconds to just 0.5 seconds. When I first read the patch notes, I didn't really understand what a decreased flash windup time meant, till I tested it in game. I presumed the flash would now pop closer to us, as it didn't have as much time to travel because of the reduced windup, but instead what they meant is that the flash travels quicker to the point of detonation. This means that it's harder for your opponents to flick away when a flash comes around the corner, which once again makes his flash more competitively viable. I'm not sure if the flash duration buff is enough though, as it's kind of awkward that everyone else's flash is just longer. Not to mention Phoenix is limited to a short distance curveball flash, which means he will most of the time flash from quite a distance, meaning his flash duration will be even shorter because of the fall off distance. Which Yoru, for example, who's like we said has the same flash duration as Phoenix's, won't have an issue with as he can throw his flash miles away. The second ability of Phoenix that got buffed is his wall, or actually the recovery from casting the wall. The patch notes read, and I quote, "Phoenix will now equip his weapon earlier if he stops bending his wall." End quote. Repeat the line, I'm sorry. Which once again was really confusing because did they mean when he stops curving and just lets it rip he equips his weapon faster? Or in general when he casts it and how much is faster? Like seriously, I couldn't figure out what they meant. I compared when you let it rip without bending, with bending, and with bending and hitting a wall. I almost gave up. But turns out it's a lot simpler than all of that. But I blame Riot for confusing me. You usually hold left mouse button to curve the wall or just to let it go. But turns out you can now let go of the mouse button and the wall will go on its own, while you already recover your weapon. I mean, it's not really Riot's fault as I kind of misread it, but I don't want to break my fragile ego, so damn you Riot. How dare you? Please give me access to the test servers. The last buff to Phoenix is coincidentally also the most requested one. Before, when you used your ult and died, you didn't respawn with shields. With patch 5.01, even when completely losing your shield, you will respawn with one. It felt punishing to die in your ult, as you would lose your shield, but with this change, you are encouraged to be as aggressive and reckless as you want to be, since there are no longer any downsides. Nice. The second agent that got changed is Yoru. In the previous patch, your ult would expire after 10 seconds. Now, it expires after 12 seconds, meaning you get just a tiny tad more time to scout ahead. His ult also got a second buff. After the 12 seconds, you'll now equip your weapon just a tiny tad faster, encouraging you to get out of your ult in a slightly more aggressive place since you are now able to equip your weapon slightly faster. The final changed agent is KO. First of all, his nade, so his fragment, got its damage zone reduced from 10 to 8 meters. This might sound like a blatant nerf, but accompanying the nerf is a buff which allows his nades to damage through walls, meaning you can do some cheeky nade tricks to deal some free damage. KO also got the audio of his ult slightly changed when you pick him up. Before, when the enemies picked him up, you could hear a long and loud pickup noise. Now, it's a short indicator instead, meaning you can mask the sound of KO being picked up, if you make enough sound. Be aware that the teammates of KO will still hear the ult pickup sound, so you might just want to push them because they can't hear you. North America is the first region to receive a Smurf detection system. Do not worry, Smurfing won't get you permanently banned now, but they will match you with similar skilled players instead of the poor Sylvas you used to stomp on. How it works, I have no clue. It might have to do with your IP or hardware ID, but I don't know. Or it might be a lot simpler, and if you play a couple games really well, you might be put on a watch list to see if you're actually a Smurf. The only one who knows is Riot. But what I do know is that if you do end up smurfing and they find out, your hidden MMR will skyrocket to a higher rank, which, let's be honest, is kinda fair. They also fixed player collisions, so you don't end up jittering when walking against a teammate, and they made the Twain Hunters from Spike Rush be able to destroy walls. Finally, they also fixed some bugs. They fixed an issue where if you have raw input buffer on, you might just jump all the way to the top in your friends list. They fixed the dimension drift, so the ult of Yoru, because it had a bug where your invulnerability kicked in later than intended when cast. And Sova's dart had an issue where it didn't destroy utility in some cases. And Fate's Hound sometimes revealed people through walls, like it used to on top of here in Split. Shout out to Iger Flesov for calling it out on Twitter. Do you think these buffs will make Phoenix a viable agent? Let me know in the comment section. Also, consider subscribing. I know, every YouTuber ever says it. But trust me, I have an insane video no one has ever made before coming up. So also make sure to ring that bell, so you will be up to date when it drops. And that is it for this video, and the first patch note video for that matter. I hope you liked it, and if you didn't, let me know. And take care now. Farewell.